Rebound by Morgan, put back up and good, and an and one. Boy, what a great sequence that was. Smith with the ball, down inside. Shot blocked, out of bounds. Get that thing out of here. Gary swats it away. Murphy had no chance to make that one. Here's a poke away by Hoiberg. Puts it up, got it! Huskers have a 100-burger. 101-72 on the swipe by Sam, and the take for the lay-in.
Here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into the show. We've got a full 2 hours ahead for you. We're going to talk some football and volleyball in hour number 2. But here in hour number 1, going to talk some men's hoops with assistant coach Nate Lindser. Coach, thanks so much for being here with us. Congratulations, another big win on Sunday over North Florida.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today, and excited to prepare for the Spartans on Saturday.
Yeah, Big Ten play already ahead is Michigan State coming up 11 a.m. on Saturday. We'll talk about that and just, again, catching up on the season. So you are in your 4th season now. I guess, first of all, let's just start with this group. How have you liked working with this group?
Yeah, I would say each group kind of has their own way of how they all mesh together, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the way the summer hours and everything, you know, you get a chance to be with the group for the most part in June. So you feel like you've been, even though there's a lot of newcomers, you've been with them for a while. And then you add a couple more this August, so that adds a different element. But, you know, it's a good group. The group seems to get along pretty well. There's some depth. There's some versatility. There's still a lot that we can improve on, which is good. You know, I would argue we've had maybe some perceived success already, which is good to see. So it helps with the learning process. But I would also argue that with everything we're about to encounter, the good news is I still feel like we can get a lot better, and I think the guys want to get better.
Dorothy Lynch Homestyle and Light and Lean Dressing, endless flavorabilities. 402-413-2400 is that number if you want to text in. Any questions for Coach Lindser here over the next hour. Also, we are streaming on our YouTube chat as well. I'll be checking that to see if there's any questions on there for you. Well, you know, there's a lot obviously baited the Creighton matchup, which I do want to talk about here in a little bit, but just, I guess, 6-1 to start the year. You're the defensive guy. How have you liked the defensive effort so far here to start the season?
Yeah, I would say, you know, probably the gift and the curse is that I'm probably never really pleased with where we're at. You know, the standard, the ability to grow, the ability to get better, the importance of not fighting human nature. You know, to your point, you know, going on the road, winning at Creighton. We've had some good flashes. I mean, shoot, I would even start game 1 with a team like Rio Grande Valley, just with their ability to spread us out and the way they shot the 3, and North Florida as well on Sunday. I mean, we've faced some challenging offenses early, and it's put stress on us in different ways, and it's been good to see how the guys react to it. Like I said, obviously there's still a lot that I want to continue to clean up, and I think our guys want to continue to clean up on. But, you know, you say year 4, I would say year 3 too of maybe on this path of really focusing on that defensive side. So, you know, the Creighton game in some ways was similar 2 years ago and was a lot of the same game plan. So, and there'll be some similarities as we go on this path too, as we go through the Big Ten, and what's, you know, started to take form is especially guys like Jawan Gary and Bryce Williams and Sam Hoiberg, guys that have been in the system and have experienced success on the defensive end. They're able to help a lot of these new guys, whether they're young or old, to kind of trust it, to kind of believe in it, to take everything, you know, one rep and one day at a time, and continue to strive to get better.
You had mentioned it. I mean, you guys have faced a lot of different styles, a lot of different kinds of teams. How prepared do you feel, just I guess on the defensive side of the ball, that what you're going to see moving forward throughout Big Ten with what you faced in the non-conference?
Yeah, I would say, we talked before the South Dakota game, just as a group, and the coach's job ultimately is to prepare. So I would argue going back to the summer, there was an element the way the rules are set up. There was an element of throwing quite a bit of situations. Big Ten common actions we're going to see, different styles, things like that, because when you're playing against yourself, there can be some unintended consequences of just going against your own offense and things like that, which obviously us going against our offense is really good. It stresses our defense a lot of ways, but I would also say that our offense is unique. So it's important for us to, even in the summer, we talk about we have our base defense, but also have the ability to have different weapons, different tools that we can use for different situations. So the good and the bad about playing against some of the teams we've seen in the non-conference is that, there's been a variance, and we've faced some teams that want to play through the paint. We've faced some teams that want to shoot the three, and I would argue that the Big Ten is going to present different challenges as well, and there's a variety. But with that being said, at the end of the day, the physicality, transition defense, and rebounding the basketball, those are staples that have to continue to be worked on. Those has to be our habits, and that has to be something that we're always striving to get better at.
You talked about some of those guys that understand the defensive system, that have some success, but when those new players come in and you're teaching them how you like to do things, what's the first thing, the number one thing that you teach when you talk about what you want to do on the defensive end?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Respect 94 is first and foremost. And what that means is, if we don't play with the appropriate edge, if we don't play with the appropriate respect for the game and the court, then the scheme, the situation and all that really becomes less important. So there's kind of a price of admission to what it needs to look like and what it's supposed to look like. And with that, Respect 94 and First to Floor, and doing the things that we want to, what we want our program to represent. That's the defensive end, can be very selfless. It is the better the team is, the better the unit is. Sometimes offensively, really gifted offensive players can break things off and make plays, but very rarely does that happen on the defensive end. So just that mindset of understanding that you're really playing for something that's bigger than yourself. We talk a lot about playing for the front of the jersey as well. We go into PBA and just what it means to really not only play for yourself and your family, but the program and the people that are trying to support the program. So I think first and foremost, getting the guys to really, really understand what that looks like here. I think everybody's going to talk about different ways how they think that looks, but what's important for our guys to understand is that we say what we say and do what we do. So, and if we've got that appropriate edge and playing with that Respect 94, then the other things will start to take place from there.
How have you gone about figuring out what kind of defensive system, what kind of defense you want to play? Because you talked about this is year 3. And I remember last year we had talked about your journey and whatever Coach Hoiberg, whatever you'll do, whatever he needs you to do. So when you take on this defensive role, how have you gone about figuring out what works best? Is it a tweak it every year kind of thing, or do you have your certain principles that you've found that you really like?
Yeah, I would say our defensive philosophy is not going to change too drastically from year to year, but the players will change. Mm-hmm. And from that, so the system may have some different tweaks and changes and adjustments as we go along. And I would argue that, year 3 was different than year 2, and this year will be different from those other 2s, with the idea that the philosophy, still how we're going to do things, is not going to overall change, but there are going to be tweaks. There's going to be adjustments that are made, personnel changes, and our team, our players, our humans are going to have different strengths and weaknesses. So there's a basic overall core of what we're going to do, but then we're also going to do everything possible to put our guys in the best situation to be successful so that they feel comfortable, and more importantly, our team can reach whatever that potential looks like.
Well, we have not had a chance to chat with you on the show about this, but when Juwan Gary, he's your guy, when he announces he's coming back with Bryce, when he makes that decision, how stoked were you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, going back to the Respect 94 and flipping a lot of the mindset and the belief, especially on the defensive end, I can go back to Sam Griesel, Emmanuel Bandamel, and Juwan Gary. Those three guys really came in and flipped a lot of things for the right direction. And when we bring up Juwan, I still have to bring up those other two as well, because he brought a lot himself, but with those other two as well, all three of them were able to really, set this thing on a better course. And so to answer your question, I mean, to have a guy that's been in the system for 2 years, to have a guy that has taken hard coaching, but has also believed in the coaching. You know what I mean? Like Juwan, with me especially, like I'm not. I'm very direct with our guys, and me specifically, I try to coach every single play, if that makes sense, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do as a coach. It's easy to look the other way. It's easy to say that the little things are important and look past the little things. So to coach on every play is difficult, and to be coached on every play is difficult as well. That's every guy, every person says they want to be coached, but sometimes no means no. Sometimes being told that something's wrong, people have a tendency to get in their feelings, and I would argue Juwan has been a big staple about taking coaching, being a leader that way, accepting it no matter how it goes, and that's to have a guy like that ultimately has your back. Is you can't even put into words what that can do for your defense, for your program.
How much has he grown into then? You challenge him, and then he challenges the guys around him to hold on to that standard that I know is very, very important to him as well.
Yeah, I would argue he's always been a guy that takes things individually, and he's a guy that, this is competitive. I mean, you're not always going to perform to the way you want to, but he's always been the one that first, like if he hasn't liked the defensive effort in years past, he sends a text late at night and things like that, and he cares, and it's not fake and it's not phony, and I would argue he would internalize a lot of it, especially the first couple of years, and we had other guys that could kind of maybe take a bigger leadership role vocally, and he could lead more by actions, if that makes sense. And with this group, each year there's a little bit of a jockey for leadership and things like that. We talk about coach-led but player-driven. And, if you would have said 2 years ago that Juwan would be the type that would huddle up a group and speak the right things and the right stuff to the team, not that he wasn't about the right things, but just to be able to do that to his peers, that talks to the growth that he's really, really shown. And I think this too, in order to lead, you got to lead yourself. And he's gotten so much better at leading himself, and now it's so much easier to lead others. And, leading up into the St. Mary's, you could kind of tell, I didn't feel like we were where we needed to be going into that game, and he's the type that understands and sees that too. And so, but there's an element of you have to experience some of that too. And he was very locked in going into that Creighton week, and he's been locked in, and he was able to step into a vocal role and a vocal leadership role, and it was just so great to see him push past his comfort level, to see the guys respond, and ultimately to see some of the successes we had down in Omaha.
Oh, that's great. All right, we're just getting started here on our Nebraska men's basketball show. If you have any questions, again, 402-413-2400. We've got more with Nate Lindser coming up here right after this. The Nebraska men's basketball show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. We're back with more coming up after this.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker Black Shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We're recruiting Teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
It's the Black Friday sales event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Kick off the holidays and start your holiday shopping early with a $500 Amazon.com gift card on most 2024 Ford vehicles. It's the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year, and the best deals on your favorite Ford vehicles are happening Friday through Monday. The Black Friday sales event is on now, but hurry, it all ends December 2nd. Get 1-9 financing plus $1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for 90 days plus a $500 Amazon.com gift card on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the Game Day Special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
It's the Black Friday sales event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Kick off the holidays and start your holiday shopping early with a $500 Amazon.com gift card on most 2024 Ford vehicles. It's the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year, and the best deals on your favorite Ford vehicles are happening Friday through Monday. The Black Friday sales event is on now, but hurry, it all ends December 2nd. Get 1-9 financing plus $1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for 90 days plus a $500 Amazon.com gift card on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Experience the new, innovative, and above all, exceptional vehicles at Woodhouse Buick. We guarantee that our staff can help you find your next vehicle. Stop in and save with our current offers going on now. Lease the 2024 Buick Encore GX for $348 a month for 39 months and 10,000 miles per year. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit. Must currently lease a 2019 or newer Buick or GMC vehicle to qualify. Zero due at signing. Stock number V24091. Offer expires December 2nd, 2024. See dealer for details.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to our Nebraska men's basketball show. I'm Jessica Coody, joined by assistant coach Nate Lindser. Well, we haven't dove into the win, yesterday's win, most recent win, 103-72 over North Florida. A lot of positives in that one, but North Florida came in. They had a couple big wins already. They led the nation in three-point field goals made. I know maybe they shot it a little bit better in the second half, but just the coming out the way that your guys did and defending the three-point line, making it hard on them. How important was that for that start to be able to pull out that win yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it jumps out at you right away. They win at South Carolina on opening night, and then they win at Georgia Tech and hang 105 points on an ACC team on their court. I mean, obviously that gets your attention rather quickly. And then they had a third road win against SIUE, and to get 3 road victories before December hits, I don't care who you are, you get 2 Power 5s, and that's pretty remarkable. And they literally won through really everybody who stepped on the court shoots a 3, including their 4s and their 5s. So the game before us, 2 days before, like everybody who stepped on the court made a 3 for them. So when they start to spread you out that much, at least defensively, that just leads to some different things you have to do, some different things you have to emphasize. We've got some good size, which has been something we're going to really, really need, especially with a lot of these Big Ten teams that we're going to encounter coming up this week. So that's important. But the way that team played, having 5 out and having all 5 guys spread out, you're starting to put your X5 in rotation and things like that. And, guys like that aren't necessarily used to or comfortable with doing that. We saw that, the ability what Rink was able to do last year especially. So challenge the guys a lot in prep. The good and the bad. You win against Creighton and you do some good things, human nature starts to creep in. So South Dakota and also that North Florida game, the importance of having the appropriate edge, respecting 94 and understanding that the score is still 0-0 and the importance of the standard and not who's on the front of the jersey that you're playing against. So I thought the guys did a good job of getting locked in. I thought we started with the appropriate edge for the most part. Didn't like how we started the second half at all, and we talked about that a lot in film today, and we'll continue to improve.
I know you're the defensive guy, but Connor Essegian, what has allowed him to really get going here these last few games?
Yeah, Connor's kind of stayed the course. You know what I mean? First and foremost, his habits, how he's built himself from high school, obviously performed very well at Wisconsin his first year. Has been through 2 laps around the sun. When it comes to Big Ten basketball, he's been coached. He's been in a good program. He knows how to play. He knows how to compete. Has a skill set that obviously we value, especially offensively. And, just like anything, it takes a little bit of time, and you start to figure out your teammates start to figure you out. And I feel like Coach Hoiberg's just, I've been around him for so long. We've talked at length about that. Coach has a way of figuring guys out, and he plays to guys' strengths, and that takes a little bit of time, but that's the beauty of how he does things. And Connor's a great fit for us. We're a great fit for him. And I will say this, obviously he's got it going the last couple games. We knew he was very capable of that. He caused me fits. We had it as the Essegian package for Wisconsin, so he hurt us in the past, so I knew he was very capable of that. But the thing that I've been impressed with, too, is he's a good teammate. He's very coachable. A big word I have is resistance. There's no resistance there. He wants to be coached, no matter how it is, and he tries to graduate from his mistakes, and he's shown the ability to be a defender for us in our system and be able to help us on both sides of the ball, which has been good to see as well.
I was going to ask you, how has he come along on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, no, I mean, he, like I said, he's done well. He's done really well. Coach Hoiberg's offensive system, our defensive system, I wouldn't say are simple per se. I mean, we always talk about doing simple better, the fundamental parts of it, but it does take a time to pick things up offensively and defensively, and I'm pleased with where he's at. Am I satisfied with where he's at? Probably never. But with that being said, he's shown the ability to take coaching to like I said, graduate from his mistakes and play with that appropriate edge. When we talked about, first and foremost, the respect 94, things like that, getting on the floor, max effort, not shying away from contact, all those things that go with it, not taking plays off. He has that in him. So anytime he has that, he can help us.
Well, another one of the newcomers, Braxton Mia, just a big guy, rim protector. What element has he added to helping you guys defend on that end? Yeah,
he's, first and foremost, too, I would argue, like his rebounding, his defensive rebounding. You look at what he's done in his history, and he's been we talk a lot about defensive rebound percentages. For us, we have game goals for what we want to limit the other team as far as their offensive rebounds go, and so we have team goals, and then we have individual benchmarks for guys as well. So the more minutes you play / the more misses that happen when you're in the game, those are your opportunities. So his defensive rebound percentage numbers have been very good throughout his career. When he's engaged, his defensive rebounding numbers have shown up here as well. So, obviously at Creighton, he's played minutes. He played really good minutes for us. But, when he gets his feet under him and he gets his base and he grabs that thing, that's at the end of the day, all the scheme, all everything. But if you can't finish possessions, that puts you in risk. And in the last couple of years, our first shot defense has been very, very solid, very good, but our defensive rebound numbers continue to be something that we emphasize and we work on, and to have a guy that I call 11-foot rebounds, guys that can get it at 11 feet, a guy like Casey, wasn't getting 11-foot rebounds as an example. And it starts with the juice and the edge, but guys that have the ability to just go get it, which he can, are critical to our success.
Yeah, and that made me think of something else. So when we were talking about North Florida and the the three-point shooting, a lot of times when those threes aren't going down, it could be a challenge to rebound those threes. And I thought the guys did a really good job rebounding there, especially in the first half.
Yeah, that's something that long shots, long rebounds, human nature. You'll hear me say that a few times, and I'm not good with accepting human nature. I think that can turn into an excuse or an out, but human nature is to relax. Human nature is to relax as soon as you have success. Human nature says when a shot goes up on offense that you don't sprint back on defense. Human nature when a shot goes up on defense is to relax as well, and getting the guys to understand that the transition defense, that in between, that moment of human nature, that's when we have to be at our best. And to your point, the defensive rebound, we have a recipe for and a checklist for what we're supposed to do as soon as shot goes up, and guys are graded on that. They're coached on that, but at the end of the day, we talked about all the fancy stuff. You got to make them miss, which against a hot three-pointing shooting team like them, that really shoots it well. Make them miss and finish the play.
All right, we're going to get to another break here on our Nebraska men's basketball show. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. Back with more with Coach Lindser coming up right after this.
Hey Omaha, Jordan Larson here, and I'm inviting you to join us for the Love Omaha Volleyball's inaugural season in January 2025. It's a dream come true to compete professionally on American soil for the first time and for my home state. Join me January 24th at Liberty First Credit Arena for Love Omaha's first serve as we kick off our historic first season. Get your tickets at lovb.com today. Volleyball is the next major league.
It's the Black Friday sales event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Kick off the holidays and start your holiday shopping early with a $500 Amazon.com gift card on most 2024 Ford vehicles. It's the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year, and the best deals on your favorite Ford vehicles are happening Friday through Monday. The Black Friday sales event is on now, but hurry, it all ends December 2nd. Get 1-9 financing plus $1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for 90 days plus a $500 Amazon.com gift card on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Find your next luxury vehicle when you shop with Woodhouse Cadillac. Browse our selection of the newest Cadillac models, equipped with luxurious designs and technology that transforms your driving experience. Lease the sleek 2024 Cadillac XT5 Premium Luxury for $599 a month for 39 months and 10,000 miles per year. Take advantage of our current offers going on now. Shop in store or online at WoodhouseCadillac.com. With approved credit, must have current Cadillac financial lease to qualify. First payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 11/30/2024. See dealer for details.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back. We got a couple more segments here left of our Nebraska men's basketball show, joined by assistant coach Nate Lindser. Coach Shane in the chat wanted me to ask you what the expectancy is with having Burke back. He missed yesterday's game. He missed it.
I mean, he's recovering. He hasn't gone through stuff yet. We'll see. I mean, he's day to day, and I'm probably not going to be the one that's going to answer that. But obviously, when he is healthy and he's ready to go, he'll be a welcome addition back.
You've been impressed with what he's been able to do on the defensive end.
Yeah, he's, he missed the summer, so that wasn't ideal, just because a lot of it install over the summer and things like that. Now, he obviously got to play with his national team and things like that, so that's a big honor for him. But, so he did miss, 8 weeks over the summer, so his ability to pick up a new system and then pick it up rather quickly was pretty good. I mean, we're different than UCLA. We're different from, wherever you come from. So, no, he's smart. He cares. He's got some really, really good positional size and length to him. He's been coached. He's been playing for a long time too. So he's got some natural instincts that I would, argue once he learned how to fit his skill set with our system, there's been, kind of a light bulb that's gone on recently. So obviously, we're excited about him, his ability for us to play big with him. He's another guy that's a good rebounder. He has the ability to go get it, and he's not out of the woods yet. None of these guys are, but he's making progress, and we're excited to see where he goes.
Mark and Omaha on the text line said, Coach, does our depth allow greater intensity on defense?
Yeah, I think it, that's a great question. I think our depth provides a little versatility that we do maybe, 2 years ago, just going back to, like, for example, at Creighton, we had Sam, we had Griesel, we had Emmanuel, we had Jawan, we had Derek, and then we had guys like CJ and Casey that were going to play, and then we had like 8 guys that played, and then we took 2 major injuries to Jawan and Emmanuel in January, and that really hurt us, at least defensively. So, our margin for error from a personnel standpoint, I would argue was a lot slimmer. When you have maybe more depth, you have more versatility. You also have 4 more I sit, the ability to make sure the guys that hit the floor have the appropriate edge and things like that. So if someone is having an off night, maybe there's the ability to make some changes, make some adjustments. We talked earlier, a coach's job is to prepare. Player's job is to execute. And then once the games start, there's an element of a coach needs to make adjustments, whether that's schematically or sometimes subbing and things like that. So I would argue we should always play hard and we should always play with an intensity, but I would say that, the deeper you are, the more options you have. And I think just like anything, one of the biggest motivators too is competition. Obviously not the other team, but also like if you know that the guy behind you is just as capable, in the old days we would have called that a hammer. You know what I mean? If there's someone behind you that's a hammer, that if you don't want to do your job and you have someone that can come in and perform those tasks, then that ultimately, there's no motivation like sitting on the bench. And all these guys want to play and they're competitive. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I would think and hope, the competitiveness of not only intrinsically, but also having the motivation of guys that are very capable.
Okay, I cannot let too much time pass by and not get this in. So we got to go back to the Creighton win. We've referenced it a few times here. But, man, what a defensive performance. It's one of the best offensive teams in the country with one of the best offensive players in the country. And players were quick to point to you. Coach Hoiberg quick to point to you and just the defensive game plan. How proud were you of the way that the team embraced that game plan that you put together and then it came to fruition out on the court against Creighton?
Well, the execution part, to me, and the players getting to experience success against obviously a high-powered team on the road, things like that. I mean, stressful environment, high, pressure is a privilege, all those things. And again, I mean, it's just like whether it's Creighton, whether it's whoever. I mean, when guys perform longer periods of time than opponent and the ability to get a road win and things like that, when we're able to get our game on the floor longer than the opponent's game, things like that, it always helps with buy-in. It helps with the messaging. It helps with trust. Not only when we talk about trust, it's easy to say from coach to player, but from player to coach, and then from player to player too, And for all those things, for our guys to, handle the adversity of the game before and have the resiliency to go out and perform in a tough environment, all those factors colliding, and then just to see, just some individual success within the system too, seeing Jawan with his leadership. I thought Braxton gave us good minutes there, and it just going down the line. It's just like any, coaching is like parenting, it's teaching, and at the end of the day, I feel more relief than joy after a game like that. But you love to see your players celebrate and experience success and to see their joy.
So when you're kind of, making a game plan and figuring out what your defense needs to do against any given opponent, what goes into that for you? And how was that something that had to evolve for you where you're like, okay, I see this that we can do, and how do you, I guess, go about building a game plan that is going to work against any given team? Because it is a different kind of matchup night in and night out.
Yeah, I think, the good and the bad is this is 23 years of coaching now for me, and I was thrown into the fire as a head high school coach at age 21, and moved into that seat right away. And you're making game plans right away. Spent 6 years at Southern Miss for Larry Eustace, and our staff was pretty defined, and I did every single scout for him. Now, I would argue those game plans were a lot different. It was all predicated mostly on figuring out what the other team was doing, but also doing what we do and doing what we do than them better, which is still, the lifeblood of all of it. We talk about this in a game plan. Like, a game plan could be perfect, but if we don't have the appropriate juice or the appropriate edge, it doesn't matter, what the plan is, if that makes sense. And there's all the cliches that go down. Everybody has a plan until you get punched, all those fun things. So how you're going to react and how you're going to adjust and what type of edge you're going to have. And then the other side of every game plan, too, is there's also a factor of the opponent as well, I talk about cooperation sometimes, and sometimes there's forced cooperation, and sometimes there's cooperation. And, been doing this long enough to know that on a given night, some teams are really, really on. And on a given night, some teams are really, really off. And your team is that way, and the other opponent is that way, and then everything that's in between, that's really who the team is. So, and you don't necessarily know on a given night what that's going to look like. Mm-hmm. That's why the 1/16 NCAA tournament games happen, the 2:15. That's why these mid-major road upsets, things like that. There's a lot of factors going on in both locker rooms from time to time. So with all that, just the whole spectrum of the game within the game, like for me, I always say this with a game plan. So the 6 years at Southern Miss did it. At Iowa State, when I was with Fred, I did it with him for 2 years. Then I was with him in the Chicago. And then there's an element of one, you need to know what your head coach wants and how he wants the game plan done. You know what I mean? And mirroring it with your system, understanding how much time you're going to have. But I always say this, my job is to know the opponent A to Z. And my job is to also see where we're vulnerable. And when we're at our worst and the opponent's at their best, how can we still find a way to be successful? And so there's all those factors, but I need to know A to Z. I need the players, to be able to execute now those cliff notes down without making it so complicated that they're not thinking, but they're also reacting, flying around, and executing.
Great stuff. All right, got to get to our final break. We're back to wrap up hour number 1 and our Nebraska men's basketball show coming up.
Shop Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram during our Black Friday sales event. Lease the 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for just $359 per month. Visit us in Blair or Bellevue or online anytime. Your trusted Jeep dealer since 1991. This is Woodhouse. 27 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax title license extra. For well-qualified returning lease customers, $1,999 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number BC20893. Offer expires 12/2/2024. See dealer for details.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Husker Extra is the best website and mobile app for everything Husker sports from the experts at the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star. Go to huskerextra.com or search your app store today. Final few minutes left here of our Nebraska men's basketball show with Nate Lindser. Well, Coach, coming up 11 a.m., it's time to start Big Ten play already. Michigan State, obviously there's history there with Coach Hoiberg, but what's this matchup look like? It's always, I know, going to be a tough matchup for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's Big Ten basketball right out of the chute, right? Going on the road. Obviously you start with Michigan State and, Coach Izzo and what he's done with that program and going back to Judd Heathcote and through the years. I mean, it's just they're a staple of winning basketball. They're a staple of success. Big Ten basketball, you think Big Ten, Michigan State is going to be one of the first few teams, if not the first team that comes out, So for us, I still go back to our habits. What we have to do. We have to say what we say, do what we do. We have to do. We have to know it. We got to do it. We got to do it harder. And we got to do it longer. And knowing that they're a very, very physical team. Playing on the road in the Big Ten. We talked to the guys today. I mean, you look at our board, and all 18 teams think they're going to the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. And in our league, every night a good team is getting beat. So, with that being said, again, coach will have a game plan offensively, a game plan defensively. They're going to have a game plan of what they do, and it still goes into the spirit of competition and who's going to get their game on the floor for longer periods of time, and who can weather all those human nature factors that go into it. So, I mean, that's what's exciting. That's what also keeps me up at night. And we talk a lot about this, even going back to game plan. We have to do everything possible to increase our probability of success. And that's from what we did in June to what we did in the film today, what we'll do in practice. And it starts on the practice court. It's got to travel, via plane to East Lansing, to walk through at their place the night before, and ultimately at 11 o'clock on Saturday, to your point, knowing that they do what they do and we do what we do, and we're going to have a stiff challenge ahead of us.
Got about a couple minutes left, but how important is that? You mentioned that this new look Big Ten. It's kind of daunting when you look at the teams that have been added to an already tough conference. How important does each game become for you guys?
Yeah, and that's why, that's why I talked about just, with Big Ten play starting, just looking at that board, because it's easy to look within, and it's important to have goals and important to have aspirations, but again, so is everybody else. Mm-hmm. And everybody else that's what makes it competitive, right? So nice win against a team like North Florida on Sunday, but for what we need to do, what we're trying to do, it's not good enough, and we have to attack each and every day with the appropriate edge, and then from there, our destiny will be revealed. But if we want to take days off, if we want to look too far ahead in a schedule, then that's when I think things can get out of whack. So, the biggest thing is we need to have a great day tomorrow and great preparation and have our focus solely on Michigan State, which it will be, and then once that game's over, then we move on to the next. But that's the way it's got to look, and that's the way it will be.
Well, best of luck. Thanks again for being here with us. Fast hour. Always enjoy chatting with you. And again, best of luck coming up on Saturday against Michigan State.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that is assistant coach Nate Lindser joining us here on our Nebraska men's basketball show, 11 a.m. against Michigan State on Saturday. We will have the pregame show starting for you here on the Huskers Radio Network with Kent and Jake starting at 10 a.m. All right, hour number 2 of Sports Nightly just ahead. We're going to talk Husker volleyball as they're headed to the NCAA tournament, and lots of Husker football news. So keep it here on Sports Nightly. Greg Sharpe joins us next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Last night, Nebraska Volleyball earned the second #1 seed in the upcoming NCAA volleyball tournament. The Huskers will host Florida A&M Friday night at 7. Then with a win, they would play the winner of South Dakota State and Miami on Saturday at 7. For more information, visit Huskers.com. In Husker football news today, a couple of Huskers entered their name in the transfer portal. Defensive lineman Jamari Butler and Vincent Jackson and running back Gabe Irvin each announced their intentions today. The portal will officially open a week from today. And finally, Week 13 of the NFL season wraps up tonight as the Broncos host the Browns. That game kicks off in about 10 minutes and can be watched on ESPN. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Raiola under center. Turns, hands off Dowdell, plunges into the end zone, touchdown, Nebraska! What a drive for the Big Red! An exclamation point on what has been a wonderful first half here in Iowa City. 9-0, Big Red.
Leading the pass, outside, Taylor Landfair, they did it! 5 Big Ten championships back to back. And they're jumping in red. Nebraska finishes 19-1 in the conference. And they shake hands in College Park, Maryland.
Here's a poke away by Hoiberg. Puts it up, got it! Huskers have a 100-burger. 101-72 on the swipe by Sam. And the take for the lay-in.
Throws for a back cut. It's picked off. Guess who? Callan Hake picked it off. Huskers running, moving left to right. 3 in transition for Hake. You betcha. Strip, steal, score for Callan Hake.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Well, what's been going on in your world? There's not a lot really Husker-wise. I kind of feel like we're in June, July, where there's just no... I'm totally kidding
to
people.
talk
My
about,
goodness,
Greg.
Jess.
Nothing to talk about. How in the heck are we going to fill the next hour of time?
We could fill about 5 hours and maybe not get there. First off, have you thawed out yet?
I did. I was, I feel like a seasoned vet, Greg. You make sure that I know to pack enough stuff. I almost had to change suitcases because I packed so many layers. My face was the only thing that got cold, but the rest of me, I was okay. I was not too bad. I can't really complain. So I made it. And I'm also can't complain because that was only one of those this season.
Correct. Barring a Northern Bowl game, which could be on the horizon for the Huskers. But let's kind of start with what we know, work our way back. Pete Thamel just moments ago tweeted out that Nebraska has come to terms with Dana Holgorsen to be the OC for the next 2 years. I think this will go over very well. And I think this is probably important for the guys, Jess, in the locker room to know, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, and to Dylan to know who's going to be kind of calling the shots here. And I think we all saw progress with the offense. I think this is big-time news for Matt Rhule.
Yeah, and just, again, the progress in the kind of situation, too. I mean, here he is. He comes in. He doesn't even know if he's going to be calling the plays. Comes in during the bye week and then takes it over and then is working with guys he doesn't know. He's calling them by their numbers and not their names. I mean, it's just for him to be able to do what he did in the situation that he did. And plus, I mean, he's proven. He's one of the top offensive minds in college football. And you have this young quarterback. We heard him go on and on and on about just the IQ and working with Dylan in that short time. And so I think he's going to be really good for this offense. Every offense he is been in charge of has put up massive numbers. And so I think that's a great hire. I think not really surprised. You just didn't know if he was going to maybe try to be a head coach again. But I think this is a great move, a great fit, as we've seen, and really good for this offense and for a young quarterback like Dylan Raiola. And not to mention, he's been a head coach before, as we've talked about with Coach Rule. Having another guy that's been in his shoes, been in his spot that he can go to, bounce things off of, I think is really good for Coach Rule, for this program. And I'm really excited to see what he can do with this offense when he's fully taken over and his system's implemented, and he's got some of his guys in here to go along with the really, really talented core that's coming back. So I think that's just fantastic news for this program.
Now, let's say this. Nebraska has not confirmed or denied any of this stuff. We will hear from Coach Rule on Wednesday. That is signing day, so he will have a press conference that day, and I'm sure, and maybe the Dana news gets put out tonight, tomorrow morning, with an official release. I don't know if there's a reason to hold that back, but Nebraska has not commented today on any of this stuff. But we're going with some of this because reputable people like a Pete Thamel are making the report earlier in the day, and the Omaha World-Herald has now signed off on this one as well. Tony White, Nebraska's defensive coordinator, is leaving for Florida State. He's gotten a 3-year deal with the Seminoles. I think, Jess, I don't want to speak for you, but I've been a big Tony White fan. Knew it was going to be hard to hold on to him. Knew other people would come after him. This saddens me, but it does not shock me.
No, I mean, I'm with you. We have talked about Tony White, how big of a fan we are for the last 2 years now, and just how great he is to work with and deal with when we're doing interviews, when he's coming in the studio. He's awesome on the sideline to interact with. But we knew last year when his name started popping up and all these potential openings, and I know he had a couple of opportunities for a head coaching job. We kind of went into this season kind of thinking it was probably going to be one more year with Tony White anyways, I think. So I maybe a little bit maybe surprised that it's not a head coaching job and it is a defensive coordinator job. But I don't know. I'm not surprised that we are sitting here in December talking about Tony White not being here, because I think it's something that we speculated we were going to be talking about going into the season, because you just knew it was, like you said, going to be hard to hold on to him.
Such a talented guy, well-spoken, and that's why he's going to be a head coach. He's got the whole package. He's got the look. He's got obviously the background. He's got success stories that he can go tell people about. In fact, Nebraska has now just confirmed the Dana Holgorsen signing, as Keith Mann has just popped out a press release on that. So I thought maybe before the night was over, Nebraska would want something like this out there to kind of counterbalance the other news of the day, which is Tony White leaving for Florida State. Okay, the portal does not officially open, folks, until Sunday, but kids are making announcements that they're going to be in it. And for Nebraska, you've got Gabe Irvin, Stephon Thompson, Vincent Jackson, Jamari Butler, which is really surprising because he talked last week. He went and told Coach Rural he was coming back. He met with the media, talked about wanting to come back and continue this. And just now, within the last 4 or 5 minutes, Mekhi Bear has entered the portal as well. So a couple of defensive starters there that are leaving Nebraska. And again, remember, Jess, Coach Rural himself said this last week. He expects 30 to 50 guys to get into the portal. So your head's going to be on a swivel for the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and there's going to be some big names, some names that we have heard and have been used to hearing. It's just this roster is going to downsize. They've got to get it downsized. And, you know, I am not really shocked about the 3 you mentioned before, Jamari, but I am shocked as well. But you also don't know. We're hearing a lot about people coming in and maybe making some offers, and you never know what kind of money's on the table for Jamari, because he is a talented guy and he's got a lot of upside, and he's a little injured, but you certainly have seen some flashes, and he's going to, you know, a lot of teams are probably going to go after him that want a veteran defensive lineman that's played a lot of football. And so he's probably got a lot of offers on the table, which is the unfortunate part of how this thing is going to continue to unfold and be a part. You never know when people are going to jump in and say, hey, well, we can pay you this here. And so anyways, Mekhi Bear, I'm a little surprised about, but, you know, I think they've got some young linebackers coming in. Also, guys that have been here, a guy like Vincent Schaefer's that I know they're really excited about too. So Maybe a little bit surprised about Jamari and Makai, but the other three I'm not really surprised about.
And I don't want to get this lost that Elijah Judy did announce he is going to come back and take advantage of that COVID year. And Jessica, we were calling his name quite a bit coming down the stretch. He was making plays. He wasn't starting, but he was kind of right behind Nash and Ty. And then you mix him in there with Roddy Van Poppel and some other guys. I'll feel really good about that spot. So I want to give Elijah some props. And I think that's great. He's an older guy who I think has really grown up in the last 6-8 months.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we talked to him before the season and just new perspective on life, on the game. And we saw him play some really good football here over the last few months. And he's even had to play on the offensive side of the ball when you lose Barrett Liebentritt. So he's done a lot. And that was big news because, yeah, you're losing Nash and Ty, and then now you've got Jamari gone. But I know that room, they feel really good about the way that some of those young guys have been developed behind those guys, and they've just been waiting for their turn. So, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for some of these guys that have been patiently waiting to be able to cause some disruption up front. But Elijah Judy is certainly a big get to come back with his experience and leadership, and a great piece to that defensive front.
Okay, here I'm reading from Nebraska's press release, which came out at the top of the hour. Nebraska football program announced today that Dana Holgorsen has signed a 2-year contract to serve as Nebraska's OC. It will pay him $1.2 million annually. That's kind of cheap, obviously, but he also has got the back end where the Houston Cougars are paying him because he had a longer contract than when they parted ways with him last year. So I'm sure kind of gave Nebraska a bit of a discount deal because 1.2 will put him at the lower echelon in the Big Ten, but I think I'd be able to do that because he's getting checks from Houston every month. So that let me ask you this, and I think we all may know the answer to this. When you hire a new offensive coordinator, you're probably going to want that guy to maybe make some calls on who he wants around him. So my gut is telling me, Jess, that probably going to see some moves on the offensive staff moving forward. Don't know anything. I know there's a lot of rumors out there right now, but it would make some sense that Dana's going, I got a guy that knows every little blurb I put into my language, every little X is Y and Z is O and all those type of things. So I think that we might want to anticipate that coming down the pike in the coming days.
Yeah, and I think he came in and he said, and he told Coach Roll, we've heard this, and he's talked about it, how impressed he was. He said there's some really good coaches on this staff. And so I expect him to retain a few of them, one of them being Donovan Raiola in that offensive line, because I think that has shown progress. And, he's got some young guys that he's really, really excited about. We talked about the defensive line. There's some young guys waiting on the offensive line, some talent that have been developed here. And I think they're about ready to kind of make their mark on this program too. So, and I don't know, we'll see how all of that works itself out, but also there's no limit on how many coaches you can have now. So, maybe some of the guys you keep around, you adjust, you move around in different roles. But yeah, I expect maybe a couple of changes there. And I think he'd probably want to bring in a couple of his guys that, like you said, know his system, his terminology, just how he wants to implement an offense. You'd expect that. I think that's with almost every defensive and offensive coordinator, although I don't think Tony White was one of the last guys hired, right? When they came in?
He was.
So most
of the staff was kind of in place.
Yeah, so he didn't really have any of his guys that came with him here to Nebraska. But, I would expect maybe Holgorsen has said that, hey, I want to bring in a couple guys. But we'll see. We'll see how that all unfolds. I do know that, like I said, he has been pretty complimentary of the guys that they've had on staff. We'll have to see how that unfolds.
And Dana, because he was the head coach at Houston, and prior to that, deep into the Lone Star State, he's going to be able to recruit that area pretty well. And that's good. And that Matt Earl wants to be down in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
On a yearly basis.
And Searle said it too. And I think this is why, you year in and year out, going back to my days at Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley was getting some of the top quarterbacks, wide receivers in every recruiting class, and was able to get guys out of the portal like a Jalen Hurts, like a Kyler Murray, because of what he has proven that he's done with offenses. Dana Holgorsen is going to be the same way. You know, Searles mentioned it as soon as it happened. I mean, if I'm every wide receiver, I'm wanting to come play here because it's proven. I mean, he has proven that he can develop those wide receivers, those quarterbacks. He is really, again, one of the best in the business in that regard. So I think when you talk about recruiting and even getting guys out of the portal, a lot of those guys are going to be really intrigued and excited, I think, to play for a proven guy like Dana Holgorsen.
So what we can kind of officially say here as part of the network, Dana Holgorsen into your deal, $1.2 million per year. Tony White out, headed to Florida State. That makes me nervous from a couple of standpoints. You hope that there aren't players that follow him. Probably will be. So you kind of hold your breath a little bit there. And maybe some familiar names on his staff, as he probably will be allowed to pick some guys that he wants to bring in to the FSU staff. So a lot happening there. I do want to touch on volleyball. Congratulations to John Cook. I know they were disappointed with the loss Friday to Penn State. Kept them from making an unbeaten run through the league, which would have just been unbelievable. But they did get to share the title the next day when they beat Maryland in 4 sets. The number 2 overall seed, I guess I'm okay with that. You can't tell me that Pitt's playing better than Nebraska right now. But so whatever. The committee gave Pitt the overall number 1. Nebraska's the overall number 2. The biggest thing, Jessica, is that Nebraska will not have to leave Lincoln to get to the Final Four. They'll have both weekends at the Advantage Center.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it kind of doesn't matter. You're going to have to beat everybody to get to where you want to be. And, I know a lot of people obviously circled that potential Wisconsin matchup to get to the Final Four, but you got to get there first. And Wisconsin has got to get there first.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The biggest thing, absolutely, the most important thing, and really the only thing that you can control that matters at this point is that you get to host throughout, and because there's no doubt that it provides a huge advantage for Nebraska to be at home inside Devaney for throughout the entire run to get to the Final Four. So that's number 1, and that's what they were able to accomplish. Now you just got to go one at a time, and you got to beat the people in front of you, and you got to beat everybody at some point to get to where this team wants to be. And I think the Penn State game, it's kind of crazy. It was a little bit like the Iowa football game. If you look at the stats and you didn't see the score, you'd think that Nebraska won that match. It just there are a lot of things that they did better than Penn State, but it just came down to those 2-3 points in those sets, and Penn State made enough plays, and Caroline Juravicius played better than she has all year, which you kind of expect maybe for in that situation. A lot of times that kind of can happen. That tends to happen. A player that plays a team, their former team, they play out of their mind, and she certainly did that. She played her best match of her career, and I think if I like the Huskers' chances if they matched up again. They did not play well, and look, not trying to take anything away from Penn State. Kudos to Penn State. Congratulations. They did have a big year, but Nebraska did not play their best match. And the last time Nebraska had a loss, boy, that really lit a fire. So I'm hoping for the same kind of situation here following that loss to Penn State.
Penn State is the number 3 overall seed. I mean, we didn't lose to chopped liver in that Friday match. The 4 teams coming to Lincoln, obviously Florida A&M. That's Nebraska's opponent. Friday night, 7 o'clock at the Devaney Center. Our network pregame coverage begins at 6. And then, interesting, you got Miami and South Dakota State. I would not sleep on the Jackrabbits. They're like 29-2, a tremendous record. So don't just kind of pencil. That's kind of an 8-9 matchup. Those should be tight coin toss type matches. I think that'll be a really interesting match. That will be at 4:30. And if you have tickets to the Husker match, why not go early? Go watch some high caliber volleyball. Should be a lot of fun at the Bob this weekend. And then the 2 winners will play Saturday night also at 7 o'clock. So this is fun. We're in December. I've been kind of ready for this. I know the team has. You and I have talked for a couple weeks about, is the team just kind of gliding into December? Well, we don't have to talk about that anymore because we are there now.
Yes, we are. And I think it's, we're going to hear from Lindsey Peterson coming up, but she had said this is probably the hardest conference title they've had to win. It was a grind. I mean, the travel, adding the teams to the Big Ten that they had, it was hard. It was a hard fought trophy that they had to bring back, and they had arguably the hardest schedule of anybody in the Big Ten with what they had to do, going to Wisconsin, playing Wisconsin here. You know, you could argue Penn State only had to go to Wisconsin and got beat at Wisconsin. So really, I mean, they had other obviously road matches, but that was really the one tough one on their schedule. So it was a gauntlet that they just had to get through, and how many sets did they end up losing the whole time? Just unbelievable what they were able to do and put together in a really, really tough conference. And so congratulations, not easy, but I think this team's ready for the third season. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Lindsey Peterson's segment coming up next. Hey, folks, Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We're back with a little portion of the dig for this week. We'll have that next.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sapp Brothers bleeds Husker Red, and our high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a touchdown offer with the Sapp Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel. Keep your engines roaring and your equipment running strong. With this winning opportunity, Sapp Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sappbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody, back with you on a Monday night. A lot of things going on. Folks, the college football world is going to be popping for the next 2 weeks or so as people get into the portal. Bowl destinations are revealed. The playoff format will be locked in by Sunday at about noon. It's going to be crazy, crazy time. Well, the playoff format is set for volleyball. Their selection show was yesterday. Jessica earlier today sat down with Lindsey Peterson, Huskers Director of Ops for volleyball, for the latest edition of The Dig. Here's part of that.
You've been a part of a number of Big Ten and conference championships. Where does this one rank among the hardest, the hardest one to get?
I would say this has been the hardest. I mean, several years. I mean, last year we knew with a week and a half left in season that we'd already clinched it. This year you're going into the last weekend on the road trying to find out if you clinch or have a share. And just the travel. I mean, we were on the road a ton in November. And like I talked, just the strength of schedule that the Big Ten had was one of the toughest seasons we've had in conference play. And you like to think that's going to really bode well for us as we head into the NCAA. I mean, you look at 9 teams making the NCAA tournament out of the Big Ten, and there was so many other teams that, you know, are right there and had big wins too. But the Big Ten was a grind this year, and conference in itself is tough because you have to be good for 10 weeks. And that's something that really wears on your players because especially as you hit towards the end of those last 2 to 3 weeks, your bodies are breaking down, you're breaking down mentally, you're getting in that part of the year, weather's changing, and, you know, school's amping up as it's coming to an end, and there's so many other outside distraction and factors that play a toll that also make it such a challenge.
You know, the Penn State loss and then having to turn right around and play Maryland, you know, the back-to-back, and then the emotional toll that takes. I mean, you go into this weekend like, okay, we've got 2 chances to win it here this weekend, but still just having to turn around. What can you say about just the response from the team? I know that could not have been easy to be disappointed on a Friday and have to turn right around and face a Maryland team, you know, just in a back-to-back like that in that kind of situation. That could not have been an easy ask for this team.
Yeah, it was difficult, and we talked about that. We talked about it after the match at Penn State, and then again Saturday morning when we were in Maryland and meeting as a team. It just that we looked at film and saw areas that we let things go that the night before at Penn State where we had our opportunities and knowing what was on the line. And so it was disappointing, but we saw a lot of things we did well and knowing that we had to turn around and respond to still achieve our goal. And so it was a big ask for our players, but we remind them they did that last year. Like we lost at Wisconsin and we had to turn around and play a tough Minnesota team on the road the next night and had a battle there. So it's what we're going to see this weekend in the tournament. You have to be great back-to-back nights, and you have to be able to, you know, put the night before, whether it was your best performance or your not so great performance, you have to be able to learn from it and apply it to the next night. And that was really what we stressed these players is, hey, we did a lot of good things to take over. There's some things we got to get better at, and we need to, there's urgency in this. We have to take that and apply it to our next match. And they did a good job responding at Maryland.
What were some of those things? Because, I mean, this team has been so good, and then you don't play your best, and that's what Coach Cook had said in the postgame. They competed hard, but it just wasn't our best night. And it's going to happen, I know, for teams. You just can't expect everybody to be perfect every night they're out there. But what were some of those issues when you guys dove into that film that, hey, this is where we've got to be better?
Well, when you looked at all the statistics, we won a lot of the categories. And so that was a little disheartening to see how we won those, but then we couldn't win the match. And the biggest area was in kills. Penn State was killing the ball. We didn't kill the ball well in transition. I mean, we continued to give them hope and let them be in the match and give them momentum because we would make a great defensive play, but we couldn't come back and transition to a kill. And they found ways to get kills when they would make defensive plays. And so that wears on a team. So we're just talking about we've got to be better in transition. We work hard on defense. We get great touches on the block. We got to transition that back and make them pay when we have that opportunity. So looking at that, looking a little bit on our block setup and areas that some of the rotations that maybe we needed to rotate out of a little quicker or make some changes in quicker to try to get out of passing lineups and stuff. But you know, that was a good thing for us to see. We needed to see that because a lot of times if you're winning, and I think we talked to Coach mentioned that we'd only lost 9 sets of volleyball, and you don't learn a lot when you're winning like that. And so playing a team like Penn State that exposed some weaknesses and showed us areas that, hey, we maybe weren't at our best and what we have to, the level we're going to have to be at moving forward these next 3 weeks is hopefully a blessing in disguise for us. And how our team applies that these next 3 weeks, we'll see. But I think that they saw where we can get better and saw where we let some things go and know that those are easily things that we can control. We're not asking them to try to reinvent the wheel to try to make those changes.
So then, you know, is that something where you guys will make tweaks to some rotations? Maybe how you start? Coach had said, you know, against Maryland, maybe you started in rotation 2 as opposed to 1. Is that just something where you change the personnel in the rotations, or how do you guys go about tweaking it? Not to give anything away, but is that something you'll figure out throughout this week?
Yeah, we'll look at it this week. We have, in every rotation, you have different sets you can run that help you, whether, you know, depending on if there's a server really stressing a certain passer or they're trying to slow down our middles and how they're attacking us serving. So, you know, every rotation we have different options, and just understanding when to get out of something that may not be working well for us, maybe the matchups where we start, so we're in a rotation less if we feel like the matchups won't be great. So those are things we'll have to look at this week. But and then just getting our hitters understand and Bergen more comfortable in transition, finding a way to get up and get kills and not giving the other team an easy ball. Like, they have to continue to stress them and challenge them if we make a great defensive play, that has to be a plus for us, and we have to come back with pressure offensively.
Another thing that JB and Lauren talked quite a bit about, I think in both matches, were just the tips that your hitters were doing instead of the kills. Why is that something that maybe happens in any given match, and why is that something maybe you don't want to do as much of?
Well, I mean, tipping the ball is strategic. Obviously, if you hit at them all the time, the defense isn't going to expect that. So there's the right time and place to tip, and it's great for our hitters to have that in their toolbox and throw those out, and it keeps the defense on their toes. But when you do it when it's obvious, or you give it away, or you're doing it where it's not stressing them at all, it's more like a free ball. So being more strategic with where we're placing those, and also making sure that we're not just doing that as a way out because we didn't feel like we had an opportunity to make a swing, or we didn't feel comfortable making a swing. I mean, we talked to our hitters about making smart decisions. If your feet aren't to the ball, you know, you can't blast it if you're not there. So maybe tipping into the block and trying to recycle to let us reset and get going again. But making decisions that way and really seeing the game and not just using it as a tip just to throw it over the net and hope we're going to win it on defense. So, I mean, there's a way that we can continue to work on that, and we do that in practice to try to figure out ways that when we tip that we're causing a lot of stress for the other team. But we also got to build some confidence when we're in those situations where, you know, we're out of system and everyone knows where the ball's going to be set. Our hitters are able to take big swings at those points.
You know, Coach had mentioned, too, after that he had a conversation with Merritt Beeson, and Merritt said, I'm going to be Merritt Beeson tonight going into the Maryland match. And just, I mean, again, talk about pressure and you know, this, I think this team knows, everybody knows that for you guys to be great, you need Merritt to be great. So for her to respond and the captain, for her to be able to get another Big Ten title, that had to be special, too. It just, I think we go about a season and you hear these stories, but then, you know, you saw her crying on senior night, and it just, you just forget just the process of all of it. And then, hey, again, sometimes you're going to be human from time to time.
Right. And we talked too. I mean, Lexi and Merritt have carried a huge load for us. It's not easy being a captain. I mean, there's a lot of weight on your shoulders that people don't see. It's not just the performance on the court. You're taking care of your team off the court. You're worrying about team matters. You're worrying about making sure everyone feels like they're part. If somebody's having a bad day, taking care of them. So you're constantly giving and giving and giving. And I feel like at times maybe our captain's tanks get a little low, and so they need to fill that back up. And when they have the load they have on the court, and then also the load off the court, I mean, they're extremely gifted volleyball players, and so they carry a big load for our team and have the expectations to perform at a high level every night. But then they also have the expectations as captains that people don't understand and see, and what toll that takes and how that can really take away from their mental capacity as well. And so making sure that they go into these next 3 weeks in a good place, and our team understands that they have to give to the captains just as much as our captains are giving, and be making sure they're in a good spot. And we talk about that all the time too. Like it's not a sign of weakness. Like everybody has that. Everyone runs into points where their tank is empty and they need somebody to help fill it back up. And just because you have title captain behind your name doesn't mean you're excluded from feeling that or having a bad day. It's just that's when others on the team have to step up. And the great thing is we have some incredibly experienced players on our team, and we have players that are very wise. And players I think of like Kennedy and Layla, who are upperclassmen who have been on the team, have been through this, are great people to step in and help fill that load and carry some of that weight for them.
Again, that was Lindsey Peterson joining us for this week's episode of The Dig. That was part of the conversation. I am working on getting that full podcast episode out now on our podcast platforms, and our YouTube channel should be out by the time this show is over. The Dig is powered by Emeritus. The Dig, Emeritus is proud to power The Dig and all of Husker women's sports. All right, we got to step aside for a break. Couple more segments left here on Sports Nightly. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious fights, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on a massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Husker fans, let's call it timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Last season was a banner year for the Huskers, winning 5 Big Ten titles. Nebraska also finished in the top 25 in the Directors' Cup standings. Beardmore Subaru congratulates Husker Athletics and Nebraska student athletes for all their achievements and stands behind you again this season. Go Big Red! Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue has the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester, the same trusted SUV it's always been, only more so. Love begins with trust.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Deer truckin' awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump
and save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you on a Monday night. Jess, it was not a good weekend for college football, at least the look of college football, with the post-game melees that took place, the people trying to plant a flag at midfield and leading to fights and fisticuffs. You had a mascot brawl in the Arizona State-Arizona game. Kind of a rough weekend for the sport. I don't have the answers to it, but that was not a pretty picture in multiple places around the country.
Yeah, it got pretty heated, that's for sure. And you know what's tough, too, is for some of these guys, that might affect what their next game that they play in, right?
Sure could.
If they start handing out some suspensions, and I mean, you talk about a couple of teams that everybody was involved, you know, just not a good look, and was tough to see. You know, you had the pepper spray come out in the Michigan-Ohio State game. It's just, there's a lot of emotions on the line in these games, and once it gets out of control, when you've got a full team versus a full team, there's just not enough bodies down there to help separate it. But that mascot battle was wild. That was bonkers to see.
They were throwing haymakers at each other in that thing. Kind of funny to watch because they're in costume while they're doing it. Now, the Big Ten today did fine both Ohio State and Michigan $100K and said they're done with it. I think they need to go further. I think they need to zoom in and find which players were doing what, and do suspend some kids for their next game or half of the next game, which, yeah, in some cases will be a bowl game for the Michigan guys. For Ohio State, it could be a playoff game, depending on whether they stay in there or not. But I don't know that just finding the institutions gets enough of a message across. I think the conferences need to go further.
Yeah, it's just at this point, though, with so many players involved, how do you even pick out who to I mean, it'd be almost everybody at this point.
Yeah.
So how do you go? I mean, I don't know. Again, there's a lot of money tied up in these bowl games and college football playoffs. And the Big Ten wants Ohio State to go to the college football playoff and win. So I don't think they're going to jeopardize that and suspend, because you're talking about, I mean, again, there were so many guys out there. You got to imagine that there were certainly some contributors that were involved that you do not want to not have in a college football playoff matchup. So, and you can't not suspend Ohio State and then not suspend Michigan. So that also, too, was probably part of. And how do you even remotely go about deciphering which guys to suspend or punish and which guys not to. I don't know. Maybe if you had it where it's going to affect your next year, and I know that for some guys that'd be in the NFL, but there'd be a lot of guys that would affect if you said, hey, your next college football game after this season, you're suspended for.
It would be laborious to go through the video, but there's enough video and cameras on a lot of these. I think you could find some guys that went too far in trying to do this thing, but we'll follow it. It just was not a good weekend as far as the brand of college football to see all that. And really, you go back to the tortilla throwing from Texas back in September. It kind of started there, and we've seen now multiple incidents around the country with kind of fan misbehavior. Schools need to get a handle on that if they want to get moving forward.
Yeah,
really
the protecting the logo thing, too, is just because I go back to my time at Oklahoma again. The OU-Texas game is done in the Cotton Bowl. It's a neutral site game, and whoever wins that game plants their flag in the middle. So then that carried over when Baker Mayfield played at Ohio State. He just got caught up in the emotions and got the flag and planted it at Ohio State, and that ended up causing an uproar at the time. So that flag planting sure has really caused some uproar here, especially this season, because it was a couple of those things were kind of what instigated those brawls.
Enjoyed your conversation with Nate Lindser. Boy, Coach Hoiberg was right. The lid was going to come off. The Huskers starting to make jump shots now and beat a pretty solid North Florida team yesterday at PBA. And the women rolled over the weekend. Back in the top 25. They'll be playing at PBA tomorrow night against Lindenwood. Only leaves us with a 30-minute show tomorrow night. But good to get them back in the rankings after the loss to Creighton took them out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Just figuring out how to win without Natalie Potts. They've got some good pieces, but that was the first game that they played without Natalie, was at Creighton. So, you know, they are going to have to make some adjustments, and I think they're doing that. And, get back in the win column and get that confidence as players continue to adjust to their different roles. And everybody's going to have to do something a little bit extra to pick up that slack, but I think they have the pieces to do it. So, yeah. Good win for them.
How about the men having a conference game in 5 days?
And then
crazy?
They have 2 in the next week, right?
Yep.
So they play
Indiana here.
At Michigan State and then Indiana here. Wild that we're already talking about conference matchups. The women open up as well. So, I mean, this is, crazy.
Well, when you're playing 18 and 20, it's hard to get them all in after Christmas. So you got to kind of slip a couple in there. So crazy. All right. We'll take our final break. When we come back, spin it around the room and get everybody's weekend winner. That's next.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, 2-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
See Shelter Agent Joe Methy in Kearney, Jackie Rowan in Lexington, or Megan Fales in Cozad today.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
It's the Black Friday sales event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Kick off the holidays and start your holiday shopping early with a $500 Amazon.com gift card on most 2024 Ford vehicles. It's the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year, and the best deals on your favorite Ford vehicles are happening Friday through Monday. The Black Friday sales event is on now, but hurry, it all ends December 2nd. Get 1-9 financing plus $1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for 90 days plus a $500 Amazon.com gift card on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Back one last time here on a Monday night show again tomorrow, just 30 minutes, leading you into Husker women's basketball as they take on Lindenwood at PBA. Tip time right at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. Matt and Jeff take the air at 6:30. And then on Wednesday night, we'll have our first women's basketball show. Amy Williams will be in studio in hour number 1. Jess and I will then recap National Signing Day. Are they even really signing anything anymore? I'm not even sure I think the whole verbiage is even different, isn't it, Jessica?
Yeah, I think so. But I think once they get here, then you're locked in until the portal opens. That's what's crazy is there's a transfer portal window that opens after spring football. So could see transfer. So it's not really as binding as it once was. But still, I think I've talked to a lot of them already. And this is a good group. They're locked in. And I think they're going to be some guys that are going to be able to contribute, some of them maybe even as true freshmen. So they're excited. And even though it maybe not be as much as what it used to be, it's a big day for these Huskers, and it's a good group. So it'll be fun to celebrate them on Wednesday.
Absolutely. All right, time to celebrate our weekend winners. Jessica, lead us off.
Well, I don't know if you're going to go with this, but if you're not, I'll go ahead and say it.
I have multiple guys. So
I know, you usually do. And this was mentioned in the chat too, but Lane Grindle stepping in for you, Greg. We missed you so much, obviously in the broadcast, but he did such a good job, and it meant a lot to him to be able to do that for you, and his opening kind of tribute to you. And I know you did not probably like it much because you don't want it to be made about you, but he just did a great job, made us all you do such a good job of making us feel like a team, and he filled that role for us, and I was happy to do it for you. But he did a great job calling that game and stepping in for us here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Yeah, he sure did. I did reach out to Josh and say, why did you not kill Mike's during that whole segment? But he did not do that. All right, Camden, what's on your list?
All right, my weekend winner for this past weekend, I'm going to go with Cam Taylor-Britt.
I knew you would do that.
You knew I was going to do that one?
Yeah.
It was the obvious one, I felt like, but he had a pick 6 and looks like 7 tackles for the game. In the loss against the Steelers, they allowed 44 points, but he did his part after he got benched, I think, the past couple of weeks. So good bounce back performance from him.
He's had an interesting fall. He's kind of run his mouth a little bit, and then you're right, got benched, needed to make a big play, and he did. And he's one of our all-time favorites here at the network. He was such a joy to cover, and he's had a good start to the career, so he needed that. I'm going to go with Connor Segan. What a week for him, and great shooting yesterday, 6 threes in that victory yesterday. Jess, his percentage shooting threes right now is ahead of what Casey did a year ago. He could really stroke it.
Yeah, and we knew he could. It just a matter was getting that lid off the basket, and it has. And I think that's important for the entire team to see that happen. And then once one guy gets going, a lot of times that's contagious. And so really important for him to be able to do that. And we heard a lot of talk about how he moves off the ball. He's not just a three-point shooter. He's been able to get to the lane. So he's a big, important piece. And I think it was really, really needed for this team to have a guy get going from the outside. And he certainly, I think, lifted that lid from the bucket.
Sure did. And you get the feeling he really likes being here as well.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it, yeah.
Connor Segan, my winner for the week. All right, back tomorrow night. Short show, just 30 minutes. Thanks to Camden for steering the ship. Talk to you again tomorrow night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Chevy. Explore the newest lineup of Chevy vehicles, including spacious SUVs, versatile trucks, and reliable sedans. Woodhouse Chevy. Together, let's drive. Lease a 2025 Chevy Equinox for $349 a month for 36 months and 10,000 miles per year at Woodhouse Chevy in Omaha. With approved credit, $1,000 down payment on new GM card plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Must have current Chevy lease to qualify. Must